From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the daily news for April 28th, 2026. These are the stories we are covering at this hour. Iran offers to reopen the Strait of Hormuz if the U.S. lifts its blockade and the war ends, officials say. Iran offered to end its chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz if the U.S. lifts its blockade on the country and ends the war in a proposal that would postpone discussions on the Islamic Republic's nuclear program, two regional officials said Monday. U.S. President Donald Trump seems unlikely to accept the offer, which was passed to the Americans via Pakistan, and would leave unresolved the disagreements that led the U.S. and Israel to go to war on February 28th. And U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio appeared to rule out any deal that excludes Iran's nuclear program. "We can't let them get away with it," Rubio said in a Fox News interview Monday. "We have to ensure that any deal that is made, any agreement that is made, is one that definitively prevents them from sprinting towards a nuclear weapon at any point." With a fragile ceasefire in place, the U.S. and Iran are locked in a standoff over the strait through which a fifth of the world's traded oil and gas passes in peacetime. The U.S. blockade is designed to prevent Iran from selling its oil, depriving it of crucial revenue, while also potentially creating a situation where Tehran has to shut off production because it has nowhere to store oil. Turning to news from the United States, multiple states in the Midwest were under a tornado watch on Monday. Multiple states remained under severe weather conditions as a series of severe storms moved through the region. At least two watches were put in place per the New York Times and the National Weather Service, including one that encompassed areas in Missouri and Illinois. The second covered portions of four other states. That tornado watch also featured a, quote, "particularly dangerous situation," end quote, designation, which the National Weather Service utilizes to signal the potential for extremely strong tornadoes. Make sure you have a plan to go to the interior room or basement of your home, Weather Service meteorologist Brian Hayes warned. Although intense weather is expected for multiple days, some of the most severe activity was set to happen on Monday, according to Rich Thompson, the chief of forecast operations at the Storm Prediction Center. Turning to news from New Jersey, the House Republican posts statement about prolonged absence from Congress. Finally, Representative Tom Keene Jr., a New Jersey Republican who's drawn attention for his extended absence from Congress, issued a statement on the matter on Monday evening. In a post on social media, Keene noted that he was addressing a personal medical issue and said that he looked forward to being back in the near future. "My doctors continue to assure me that my recovery will be complete and that I will be back to the job I love very soon," Keene said. Keene, who's an incumbent in one of the state's most competitive House districts, didn't provide further details about the timing of his return. By the way, he's been missing since March 5th. Keene, who's an incumbent in one of the state's most competitive House districts, didn't provide further details about the timing of that return. His absence was scrutinized following roughly 50 missed House roll call votes and after other lawmakers were unable to reach him. House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Republican from Louisiana, has previously said that he'd spoken with Keene over the phone and the lawmaker was addressing a personal health matter. Keene's statement is the first on the subject to be attributed directly to him, not to a member of his office, Politico reported. And finally, in Pennsylvania news, Pennsylvania lawmakers are pushing to end death penalty in the state. Pennsylvania has a moratorium on the death penalty. Now there's a push to abolish it altogether. Two bills that would do that recently passed the House Judiciary Committee. Nearly identical, both are heading to the House floor for a vote where, if it passes, the state will be one step closer to joining 23 other states that have abolished executions. James Dennis survived two execution warrants while spending more than 25 years on death row for a murder he didn't commit. He's not the only one. Since 1978, 13 Pennsylvanians set to be put to death have been exonerated for crimes they were unanimously convicted of. "Get rid of the death penalty," Dennis said. Representative Russ Diamond, the Republican from Lebanon, is one of a handful of conservatives who support ending the death penalty. He sponsored one of the two bills A lot of conservatives, they get a little confused and they want to be viewed as tough on crime, and we all do, Diamond said. Meanwhile, Democrats, including Governor Josh Shapiro, have long supported abolishing the death penalty. At least one of the bills will likely pass in the Democratic-controlled House. Any challenge to the death penalty will face tougher odds in the Republican-controlled Senate. That's the news for this hour. PEP Radio is available on the Live 365 app, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, fmstream.org, Radio Line, Streamer, Roku, and Alexa. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.